Welcome back, Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning and Drew Rogers. Before we get into it, let's take a moment and tell you about Dingman's Collision Center. Dingmans.com to schedule an estimate for great locations. Some of the best service you'll get in the car repair industry. And we deal with some good people over at Dingman's, and you will too. They give back to the community. They do so much more than just fix up your car. But I'll tell you what, they'll make that beauty good to go back on the road as soon as you need it. Go check out dingmanscollisioncenter.com. Now, as you mentioned the question to Ravi about who is going to fill the seats from Nebraska on Big Ten Media Day, were you yourself surprised at all with the choices?
And I know, listen, I'm here for it. I'll entertain it. 888-638. A lot of people will tell me Jeff Sims seems like the obvious choice. I wondered.
Do you always send your quarterback? Like, is that like the thought?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll be curious to get Nebraska fans' thoughts on this. Right? Were there times where you didn't want Taylor Martinez? Were there times where you had seen too much of Adrian Martinez? Because Adrian went 3 years in a row. My name is Jeff. You've probably never seen. Have you seen Clarence before ever? My name is Jeff.
Well, my name's Jeff. That's actually from 22 Jump Street,
and there's a cartoon
right
where Jeff does kind of a similar thing. Oklahoma Tyler's son, Kobe Bean,
not
Mosman. Not kidding you. Actually, it's Kobe Carmelo, but which is even crazier.
I feel like you're making something up now.
I swear to goodness, Timo's son is Kobe Carmelo. It's Carmelo Anthony Mosman. Listen, anyway, I was a little surprised because I didn't know if Coach Rule, like year one, first time out of the gates, would take a guy that hasn't been in the program. But Coach Rule and that staff haven't been in the program either. So I'll entertain either one. Good choice, right? He's Piper's the one that I like.
Well, I liked him too, just based on what I heard in the spring. He seemed like that leader, that person that you want on the mic for your team.
Good spokesperson, right? And the like getting in the weeds here, Piper's come a long way because he was such a good full disclosure, I thought I was going to be wrong about Piper. When Piper first got there, I was like, I'm telling you guys, did this guy in the state finals. He's got a great frame. He's super athletic. He was dunking basketballs. And he kind of got off to a slow start. And a couple of my former teammates, who shall remain nameless, were like, man, you smoke crack. I was like, wow, that's kind of harsh. Like, I don't go anywhere near drugs, but okay, why? He's like, well, not doing this and not doing that. And then kind of watched him over time, got back into the rotation, and I felt like he's arguably one of their top run blockers from a year ago. So I was like, I like the fact that he's hung in there and been a good ambassador for the program, because it's easy to say good things about people when everything's going your way. It's not always easy to say good things about people when it's still good and you may not be benefiting from it, but you see the value in it. So I'm team Piper. Now I'll disagree with Ravi a little. Reimer kind of surprised me.
So why did Reimer get forgotten about this offseason?
So
because nobody's talking about him and the impact that
he can
and will make.
Didn't practice.
But in the spring, he was out there. He was doing all the drills.
Been oft injured. And I think there was this little bit of, do I like the clash? Do I stay or should I go? With when the staff first got here. And he's going to have a fair, I believe this. I could be all wet, and I swear to goodness I don't have any preconceived knowledge. It's not like I said a Dvorak or Rule. Hey, man, I think there's going to be a fair amount of competition at the linebacker spot. I don't think there are any givens. And so when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, again, I don't know, so I'm thinking out loud. Is Reimer all in enough? And has he been out there enough?
I didn't see a harder worker when I attended practice
So do you know
than
why?
Reimer
Do you know
in
what
the linebacker group.
So I thought maybe Bullocks would be in the discussion, but most importantly, I thought Newsome would, because Q is all in.
1,000%.
And he's very passionate about the program. So I thought
he was passionate about keeping his number. He was passionate about bringing Nebraska back. He was passionate about it.
And who was kind of leading that bad boy out there on the practice field? I thought Hartzog maybe, because he could be the poster child. Because for as much as everybody talks about times and you need certain measurables, like Hartzog is still the guy that kind of defies that, right? It's not not overly top end, speedy, not a big guy. He's just very complete. He's like a lot of 7s and 8s. He's not like a 10 in one and a 2 in the other. I'll be curious to see how he fits in physically, right? Will he come fit in the run game? Because that's going to be huge for his particular position. But I was a little, I'm not like, ooh, head scratcher, but I was like, okay, Luke's a talented guy. I think physically, when he's right, he has Sunday talent ability. Like when he's feeling good, I think the little nuances of the game and kind of the execution of playing on the second level, there's still a lot to learn there from a football, like a savvy standpoint. But a lot of that is just because I think he's still evolving in the position. So probably this just sounds weird. He's been the most productive. But the most surprising for me was Reimer. The second most surprising for me was Sims. And the guy that I was like, it makes complete sense was Ethan Piper.
So for me, I don't know if you can choose wrong by sending somebody to media day. Everybody's going to give you a different perspective based on their personality. And
you want people that are going to reflect well on the program.
100%. But at this point, I hope everybody does, right? You're sending them to Big Ten Media Day. I hope you do, right? That's the hope. Yeah. So, and I would agree with you that I'm not shocked with Piper. I think you need somebody from the line there and a good spokesperson, as we said, just to add to it. It makes you a good,
and I want leadership,
a good voice
to the ball.
Yeah, it gives you a good voice. I'm not shocked about Sims though. Year one, people are going to want to talk to the quarterback, and I think Rule and Nebraska knows that.
He'll make everybody's list and the countdowns and most indispensable.
Right, which is why I wasn't shocked to see him on the list. Now, if we were to see him next year and possibly the year to follow, if that's how long he tends to stay at Nebraska, then okay, we can maybe get into those Taylor Martinez conversations like you were talking about. But for year one, that didn't shock me to see the guy that everybody's been writing about, that everybody's been wondering about, there to represent your program, because it's just going to draw good attention for your program at the end of the day.
You asked, do you always have to have a quarterback? I don't think you always have to have a quarterback. Now, you do hope that your quarterback's a leader just because he's not representing you at media.
And I think that's just like the image that every team wants to send, though.
But it's like I'm just kind of going through the list. TA, I lack a little objectivity because I was a big Tommy Armstrong guy as a person. Adrian, I thought almost was like carried the burden.
But I'd want him there
because he was the natural choice. I felt like after year 2 and year 3, I was like, it's okay if he doesn't. Taylor, I didn't want at all, right? Just because I just
selfishly,
I didn't think he was comfortable. Not like a Zach Taylor or somebody like that. Sure,
right.
But sometimes guys just don't want to be the
pressure.
Guy. Yeah. I don't know if pressure's
pressure to be there, pressure to sound good,
pressure to be there.
Right. Well, selfishly, media people want the big names. You want the coach, you want the head coach, you want the quarterback, and you want another impact player, because those are the three that are going to get recognized when you show them to the fan base, whether it's on print, on the radio, or on TV. So that's why when it comes down to this, it wouldn't shock me if there's a little bit of politics into, hey, I want you to send these guys, at least give me the quarterback while you're here. Give me the head coach while you're here, because that's what the media wants at the end of the day.
I know B. Edwards is coming up next. I want to ask you a question. Should Northwestern be a Big Ten media days?
Interesting. Brian Edwards coming your way.